back in NYC. I just left LA. I just booked a flight.
How much we gotta go, y'all? It's a lot. It's a lot, bro.
Stacking my pesos. Shooters stay with me. Killers on the payroll. Yo, bitch, fuck with me.
You already know the vibes. You already know the vibe. We back with Big Meech and Tammy Cowins, man. Did they use Special Agent Keith Cromer to set up Cuffy and Suarez? The full paperwork reading, and this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, you go check the videos. I'll be going back, leaving descriptions and all of that, so you'll have more of an easier way to link to all of the other videos. So salute to all of y'all. Hope you had a blessed day. You already know the vibe. This is the Go Network. I am Uda on Go. The people in the chat are the Go Gang. Be a part of the Go Gang. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bells. Lean on that like button. It costs you nothing to push that button, homie. It costs you nothing to push that button. So, yeah, man. We're going to get into the continuation of the reading, y'all. Of the reading. It's a lot of paperwork, y'all. But I'm trying to get through it. I'm going to try to get through all this today for you. This is how much I love y'all, bro. You don't understand. Y'all drop a like for the weigh-in. Y'all drop y'all likes. That's going to help us to get the notification out, because YouTube act like they don't be wanting to do that. But y'all control the algorithm more than YouTube does. That's what I'm saying. Y'all just drop likes. So I'm going to start right on from where I left off. From where I left off. All right. Do I want to see the last page? Let me just see, just in case. It's a lot of papers, y'all. It's nuts. Got like a million paper, bro. Let me see. All right. Let me back up and just ask you, okay? Okay. You're no longer dealing with Mr. Cromer because there was an investigation. Is that fair to say? That is correct. Okay, so only the agents you were dealing with then were the ones that were under him? All right, Mr. Davidson, Todd Davidson, and Cindy? Right, Todd Davidson and Cindy. All right, so you indicated you reached out to DEA St. Louis, correct? All right. Did anybody call you right back? No, I kept calling and leaving messages. How many days would you say? I would say probably about 3 or 4 days. It could have been less. It could have been more. Was there a point in time where you reached out, okay, to talk to the judge, okay, in the case? You saw who the judge was? Did you even see who the judge was? Yes. So at that point in time, then I don't know which order I did it. I'm pretty sure I called the judge first and I talked to, I guess, the assistant or secretary. And I said, this is crazy. I'm getting messages and calls in regards to this. And my name is in something and that, you know, I'm in fear of my life. At the time I said, for something like that, I shouldn't be. And I wanted to talk to the judge. He said to take the name off the documents, the paperwork, and she said, let me have someone call you back. Okay. And who called you back? I think it was you guys, if I'm not mistaken. Someone from my office. Someone from your office probably, because I think it was before you guys got the case. So does that name like Matt Drake or a name like Matt Drake sounds right to you? That's it, Matthew Drake. That's exactly the name. And you talked to Matt Drake? Is that correct? Yes, I talked to him on the phone. And he flew down and he said, and he flew down and met with him personally. And were you satisfied with the response you got, basically, or did you take other actions? I was not satisfied because he didn't. He defended the DEA. Yeah, I wasn't satisfied. I'm just asking you whether or not you were satisfied. No. And what, if anything, did you do after that? Then I called the defense attorney. So you made a call to Mr. Watkins' office? Okay, correct. You talked to an associate? I think it was an associate. Is that Mr. Wallace? Yes. I'm not sure what his name was. And you expressed to him what? Okay. I said that my name is in something and you guys are exposing me for something and you haven't even had a discussion with me. I am furious about it. You exposed the company I was at the time and all of this information and said some of this stuff is just not true. Okay. And you told him that some of the information there was not true. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Now the information, all right, okay. So the information that you talked to him about, what, if any information was it that upset you aside from your name being all in the paperwork? Demetrius Flannery's portion, because he didn't blank. Now I'm going off memory of the paperwork. Is that I went to Atlanta to seek money, blank. I went to Atlanta offices to turn Cuff in, and I talked to agents to turn him over. Crazy. Y'all drop a like, y'all, please. Y'all drop a like on the way in. Just drop the likes. This ain't just like a regular video. I need y'all drop the like so the message gets out. So y'all drop a like. I'm reading here. Drop a like. Some of your favorite YouTuber can't read, so drop a like for that. If this was slavery days, they'd have kicked me out of the house, put me in a field picking cotton, and then ship me to the Caribbean islands because I'm teaching you how to read properly. Drop a like. Drop a like. We came a long way. Right? Boom. So she was mad at the Demetrius Flannery portion, right? So she said she came to Atlanta offices to turn Cuff in. I talked to the agents to turn him over. I remember Cuffy's in court like this. Him and his other 3 defendants. Boom. So they said, and that didn't occur? She said, that didn't occur. He said, you've already told us how it was with Mr. Cromer, correct? And the investigation, and that's how it started, and that's how it went. And you felt that was a mischaracterization. It also indicated Mr. Flannery was the organizer or leader of that, and you don't believe that. See? Because in the first paperwork, he was the organizer of the whole deal and her linking with them. But now she's going against this whole thing. Ever since her information has gotten leaked, she's blaming the federal government to say they leaked her information. She's getting threats and all kinds of stuff. She's been trying to change her affidavit from the first thing she signed, and she started drawing up some other affidavits. That's what she do. You feel me? When the first affidavit is what got Cuffy locked up. And now she's saying that it's not true. And they're still keeping it to lock him up. See what I'm saying? Cool. Right? And I don't think that's true. That's not true. Correct? There was some conversation with you and Mr. Suarez, okay, where he mentioned Meech or Buddy, but aside from that, he wasn't the one that was initiating this contact. That is correct. That is between Mr. Suarez and Mr. Gatlin. And myself were setting it up. That is correct. That's my next question. In effect, really, you were the one that set up the blank conversation or those conversations? That is correct. All right. So you were set with the interpretation that the agents took about the information regarding Mr. Flannery. Is that fair to say? That is correct because he didn't have anything to do with anything. So correct. That is fair to say. Okay. Okay, then. So did there come a time then now after you talked to the agents, talked to U.S. Attorney's Office here in St. Louis, okay, and they came down at some point in time and talked to you, is that fair to say? That is correct. And did there come a time then when you had a number of incidents involving threats? Is that correct? That is correct. Okay. And This was before you actually talked to the defense attorneys. You had received some threats, what you considered to be threats. Is that fair to say? I did receive threats before and after. I don't recall, but I did receive several threats. And among the threats that you received was some communication, phone call. Over a phone? Yes. At your office? Yes, several phone calls. And what was the substance of that call? I don't recall. You paid informant. How does it feel to be a paid informant and you're dead? Okay. Did you receive any, do you think you were followed at any point, or did you tell the agent that you thought you were being followed? Yes, I did. But if I can just say this too, prior to the phone call, which the calling my job, prior to that, they called several times playing as a customer. Oh, okay, okay. Asking me questions about the company and are you a supervisor? And I said, I am in a management role. And so on and so forth, which led up to the call back of the threats. And those are documented as to what and when that happened. Yes, a few of those calls are documented, like March 6th and March 7th. That's correct. Before you contacted with Mr. Wallace, okay? Could it be before, but I don't know if it was before. Okay, you made reports and the DEA made reports. Is that correct? That is correct. Or at least you reported it and they documented it. Is that correct? There were others. Were there not? Okay, where you felt you were being followed? He said there were others. Were there not? Okay, where you felt that you were being followed? She says, I know I was being followed. Yes, sir. And someone was knocking at your door where you lived? Twice. And we didn't open the door. I called the police. And you reported those? Is that fair to say? Yes, sir. I'm going to hand you what is marked as Government Exhibit 28A, okay? Before I hand you something else, okay? Okay. And tell us what those are. And at the top, it's text messages. I don't know who the first two. Can you guys come to? Sure. Okay. I don't know what that portion is about. The phone calls at the bottom is the screenshot of my company's whatever. Okay. Go through the rest of them and just identify them if you can. And that's more screenshots from my company's phone at the office, I guess. Yep. Same with the third one. So I was forwarding this to the Atlanta team, DEA Atlanta team, and then I can't remember that fourth. I'm sorry. The one at the bottom of the page 2, I don't know what that blank. The court. Is this all of Exhibit 28A? Mr. Hoag. 23A is what is thought, and I thought to be said. 28A, and then she chimes in, 28A, and then I apologize. I can't read the other one on page 3 either. I'm not sure what that is. He says, okay. She says, that's the car. That's the car that was following me, that didn't have the tag number or anything on it. It's on page 3 at the bottom. Are there any phone numbers with a 573 index? She says 773. He says, sorry, 773? He said, yes, that was the number the call came in from, the threats. Okay, and that was to your office? And that was the one that they said, basically, you're dead, bitch, and how does it feel to be an informant? Yes, how does it feel to be a paid informant? All right, so let me hand you Government Exhibit M32, okay? You recognize that? Yes. Who is Bebe or Samuel Jefferson? Okay. How do you know him? He called. He has called previously in regards to Meech, as well as Terry Flannery saying that he's their blank. They are his uncle, not by blood, but he said, I call him my uncle because we used to gamble together and things like that when they were young. And he was an associate of Meech. Do you know if he was an associate of Gatlin? Yes, he was. Okay. And you indicated that there were a number of calls, okay, when you talked to Mr. Suarez and Mr. Gatlin on August 5th of 2012. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Y'all drop a like for me, y'all. Come on. Just get 100 likes while we're reading this. 1,000 likes on the rewatch. To anybody that's watching this rewatch, get this to 1,000 likes. In the chat now, let's get it to 100 likes. Y'all drop a like if y'all haven't, just because we reading and we rocking and we doing the real thing. Salute. Okay? Salute. Y'all drop a like. Okay? I'm going to hand these records related to Mr. Hoag. This is M19, Your Honor. Okay. Would you like to take a look at the target phone? Okay. That's my number, my old number, she says. That's my question. Could you, it's no longer your number, right? She says, right. Can you read it for the record just to indicate that it is your number? All right. Yes. 770-633-9119. Okay. Well, I ain't had that number, Tammy. Your little op bad. Right? Okay. This information from Bebe, which alludes to your daughter and you're getting out of this gangster stuff and blah, blah, blah. Is that fair to say? What is that? Yes, yes. Is that what that is? Yes, that's what that is. Did you take that as a threat? Yes. He's saying be careful. Okay. So, and I guess you did. Did you be careful? And at some point in time, did you share that with somebody? I gave it to, I think I sent it to Todd. I sent it to the agents in Atlanta. How about Jack Harvey? Jack Harvey, excuse me? I'm sorry. It was not the agents. It was Jack Harvey, actually, I sent it to. Okay. And that would have been the same time later in March. Is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Yes, the later part, the latter part is correct. Okay. Okay. So the latter part is correct. Okay, cool. Okay, so, but it's fair to say, is it not, that you were being bombarded? Yes. Okay, and we talked about your retraction about the affidavit. Correct. Y'all drop likes. Get us to 100. Because this is where we getting technical, because the woman signed the affidavit from the beginning, and then she went against it all, signed, wrote 2 more with paper, and didn't even submit it, didn't even sign it. And when you don't sign the paper, it's not an affidavit. It's just a fucking piece of paper. Just like when you take something to get notarized, same thing. Okay, but is it fair to say that you were being bombarded? Yes, and we talked about the retraction in the affidavit. Yes. And you've gone through that affidavit, correct? Yes. All right. And we talked about what you think were the discrepancies that were not accurate. Okay? That is correct. Okay. All right. So, and aside from that, whatever documentation the agents put together, okay, as far as you know, that's correct. But you're not the one that put it together. Is that fair to say? Yeah, that's fair to say. That's correct. Okay, then. So all you know is what your role was? Herman, Mr. Herman says, excuse me, Judge, there's been a whole lot of leading here, man. And I don't understand what this is and that is. There's no jury here. But still, I think the evidence should come from the mouth of the witness rather than Mr. Hoag, man. The court. Okay, Mr. Hoag. If you would rephrase your question, please. Just rephrase it. All right, Jan, I'll rephrase it. It's all good. I'll rephrase it. Okay, then. So, did the contacts that you had at some point in time with the other individuals include some sort of social media posting? Yes, I received several phone calls from different individuals saying, are you okay? Is everything all right? I'm like, what's going on? So I don't remember who sent me a screenshot of a posting. I don't do social media other than LinkedIn business, but I received the posting saying, come watch the show. Okay, so let me hand you what's been marked 35A, okay? Can you look at that and tell me what you received? Yes, this is correct. This is what I received. Okay, and it does it not identify you by name? Yes, it does. Identify this hearing? Yes, it does. And do you then contact me? Yes. Okay, and what do you ultimately ask for? A closed hearing? Because this is when she ended up closing the hearing, removing everybody from the court. Okay, just like Cuffy said. Okay, So it was your feeling that you were in danger, 100%, as well as, she probably said her daughter. No, you tell me, what was it that you felt? I felt danger, and there was no reason to make a spectacle out of a courtroom. I'll just come in and tell the truth and leave. And you asked me what? You asked me what? I asked you, could you ask the judge to close the courtroom? And I said, if you won't ask, then I'll ask for it myself, or I'll send a letter to Washington, whichever. Exactly right. You actually wrote or sent something that said, if I have to, I'll call her myself. Because the judge is a woman. Right. Okay, talking about the judge. Correct? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, Mr. Hoak says, may I have a few minutes, Your Honor? Sure. Dean, what exhibit was the letter? Posting was 35A. The letter she wrote asking for the courtroom? I guess, I'm not sure. October 11, 2016? That's a different letter. Then we don't have that. He said something about a letter that starts, all right. I just have a couple more, Your Honor, just a couple more. Okay. You have subsequently been informed basically about how much money DEA Atlanta has provided you in what is the Gatlin investigation? Is that correct? Yes, I was informed of that yesterday. I'm going to hand you $80,000, $80,725 to be exact. Yeah. Boom. Right? I'm going to hand you, she said I'm going to hand you, is blank. What we've got this marked as, it's not an exhibit. I'm going to call it 38, which is the schedule. Mr. Hoak, is this something that has been shown to the defense counsel? Yeah, I will do that. I think they have it already. We just got it this weekend, so I'm just turning it over. Okay. Let me hand you what's been marked as Government Exhibit M38. Do you see that? And in the recent, well, like just since you got here, that's when you first found out about that. Is that fair to say that you first found out about this? Yes. Okay. And Mike went over it with you, and Mr. Riley went over it with you as well, right? He did it. Yeah, he did yesterday. And he explained it to you and what other benefits you might have received aside from, those right there. Yes. Okay, so that there were I guess monies conferred on you when you were moving. Yeah, I was moving because when she was moving, they paid up to her bills. Cromer had allotted her some money that it paid her bills for up to like a year so she could get settled, and it was paying her bills as well as the other money that she was getting. Just some separate. She was paying her bills, was getting paid separate. Moving, yes, sir. Since you have been put up for protection purposes, yes, I've been put up for protection purposes. So you have been offered WITSEC, and at this point, you have declined, but it is still open though. Right, she declined WITSEC witness program. Okay. And any other benefits that may or may not have been given to you? No, other than blank. Issues of disclosure so that you know, correct? Correct. Court, do you have a copy for me, Mr. Hoak? Actually, Judge, you can have this one. I have an extra copy. I'm sorry. I have no other questions at this time, Your Honor. The court cross-examination, Mr. Trogg. I'll gather my belongings here, Your Honor. Okay. For planning purposes, Mr. Trogg, it's 11:15 and almost 11:20. Are you anticipating that we could go until afternoon or take a break and then resume? What should we do? That's fine, Your Honor. I have no objection. All right, court. I'm not going to ask you to promise to be done by 45 minutes, but if you are, that would be probably saying fine. Okay, Your Honor. I'll look at the clock and keep that in mind. Okay, because I'd like for us to take a break at noon. Okay, proceed, Ms. Trogg. Okay, this is the cross-examination. Ma'am, when you started working for the DEA in 2009, that was under Agent Harvey. Is that correct? Yes, Jack Harvey. And you stated on direct, ma'am, that during that time that you worked for Mr. Harvey, at least in 2009, that you received no compensation. Is that fair to say? Yes, that's fair to say. That's correct. Your first compensation you received from DEA would be in 2011. Would that be a fair statement, ma'am? That would be a fair statement around that time. So when you were working on the Terry White case, if I may, you were working on it because you wanted to do the right thing? When this was your ex-lover and you caught him in the bed allegedly with another woman, and this is why you sending him up the river? Tammy, Goat Throat Cowins, heard about you, allegedly. Correct. That's what she says. I went to Mr. Harvey to discuss that. I thought I may have done something wrong. Were you ever considered a confidential source for an affidavit in Mr. White's case? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. When you were working on Mr. White's case, ma'am, were you working directly with agents with regards to the dissemination of information? Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe could you reword it or rephrase it if you don't mind? Sure. When you were working in Mr. White's case, were you asked to make phone calls to Mr. White? Yes? Or anyone? Actually, I wasn't really told to ask to make any phone calls because I did it anyway. Okay. Were you asked to deliver any drugs or money? No. And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Was it mainly perhaps background information, ma'am? Background information for what? For Mr. Harvey. Okay, you lost me again. I apologize. Just make it a little more direct so I can understand. I don't understand the legal jargon. I don't really understand that. Y'all get the like ups with me, y'all. Let's get it to 100 likes while we rock it. Everybody drop a like. Let's go. Appreciate y'all. Word them over. Shout out to y'all, right? Sure. Understood. We'll get there. Okay. You were working on the Terry White case because you thought it was the right thing to do, right? Correct. And my question, and I'll try to get to the real concise here. I try to get real concise. I try to get to meat and potatoes of this. What did you do in the Terry White case? What exactly did you do? Basically, I had Terry White to confess that was my motive per se, is for him to admit that I didn't know what I was doing in regards to getting money off my credit card, which he did. Because this is how he got caught up in some fraud, some money fraud, anyway. With my credit card, which he did. And I had that on phone call where I dialed the number and turned the phone over while we were riding out of town. He rode with me to go see Meech and visit Meech one day in the car. He rode with her to visit Meech in the car. And I started talking about all his drug deals, etc., etc., etc. So that's kind of how it happened. So were you concerned that you were being drawn into perhaps money laundering, ma'am? That's what I was told. That's the name of the terminology, yes. See, I knew we would get there. Okay. Now, were you involved with Mr. White, ma'am? Yes, for a few years. And when you started assisting the DEA in 2009, had your relationship terminated? Sexually, it had. Got my eye on you, Tammy. Got my eye on you. Yo, drop a like, y'all. Salute to everybody that's just dropped in. We are reading this paperwork. We going through the case. I need everybody to drop a like because eyes know how to read. And if this was slave time, they'd have kicked me out the house, had me in the field, and then shipped me to the Caribbean islands. So drop a like. Boom. But you were still friends with him, yes. Now, the agents that you went to in 2009 was Jack Harvey. That is what you stated, right? Right. I was given his name and number to call him by a mutual friend in Atlanta. Now, when you went to work for the DEA, did they have you sign any forms, ma'am? Do you recall? I signed a lot of stuff. You signed a lot of stuff. The government always has tremendous amount of forms here. But from 2009 till 2011, you were never being paid by the DEA. Is that correct? No. Did Mr. Harvey mention anything about an award related to the Mr. White case? He did right before he retired. He said, I'll put you up in for a little reward. And did he give you any amount, ma'am? No, he didn't. Okay. And when you hadn't heard anything for a couple of months, did you think that it just had gone by the wayside? Well, I was in conversation with Atlanta DEA, and I pretty much did. I thought it was basically just, honestly a lie. Not on Mr. Harvey's part, but I just figured they just, not even really didn't worried about it at that point. I just stopped worried about it. Because you were working, is that correct, ma'am? I've been working for 24, 27 years. Yes, ma'am. I've been working for 24, 27 years, ma'am. Now, I don't want you to particularly say where you were working at, but can you just describe the general nature of this employment work that you're doing here? Well, we managed, because these people started stalking a job, They started stalking a job. Boom. He said, well, we manage all the new hires. I was managing all the new hires and quality assurance of the company for Goldman Sachs at the time. Damn, she worked at Goldman Sachs. So if I would describe it perhaps as in human resources, ma'am, no. It's more of account managing type. Training quality assurance at that time, training quality assurance at that time, training quality assurance more so. Okay. And you were receiving a salary every week. Would that be a fair statement, ma'am? Twice monthly. Twice a month. Were you in any financial difficulty in the year 2012 then? Yes, after my husband passed away, we were always financially very well off. But when my husband passed away, catastrophically, in an automobile accident, it left me with a lot of houses and debts, motorcycles and trucks and cars and things. And I had just recently bought him a boat for his birthday. I received $200,000 off his benefit for uninsured motorists and $100,000 on a life policy that I carried on him. And then I think 20 or 25,000 from my company that paid for his burial, and I took the money and put it down on a townhouse. But despite all of that infusion of income, you were still having some financial difficulties. I was about 100,000 in credit card debt. Yes. Okay, if I may, Your Honor, and we've provided the government a copy of this. If I may approach the witness, you may. With regard to the government exhibit 8, Your Honor, I don't know if you have it, Ms. Trog. Ma'am, I've handed to you a petition in bankruptcy that was filed in the Northern District of Georgia. Have you ever seen that before? Yes. And do you want to take a couple of minutes to look through that? In fact, reflects in the voluntary petition that was filed in the Northern District of Georgia. No, I'm sure it's accurate. Okay. In it, it lists your income up until filing in August 2012. In it, ma'am, did you ever report any of your DEA income? Absolutely not. And did anyone ever tell you, ma'am, that you should not report that income? Yes, Keith Cromer said that you don't report that because, number one, you don't pay taxes on it. And number two, you don't report it because if you report it, then they'll have access to my information and know that I was a confidential informant. Y'all drop a like. We haven't moved in a minute. Y'all drop a like, y'all. Y'all drop a like. Come on, y'all. Y'all drop a like. Y'all drop a like. I ain't scamming y'all. I ain't scamming y'all. But I'm gonna take a drink of some juice. Y'all act like people can't drink. What happened? I ain't a robot. Facts. I got a whole split that I want to smoke and all that, and I'm reading this. Facts. Drop like. It's gonna help people to get the messages. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you for real. I'm not forcing y'all. I'm just appreciate y'all. I want the messages to get out. I want this paperwork to get out and stop the fluff with everybody that's talking. Right? Boom. It would have got out that she was a confidential informant, right? So it was your understanding, ma'am, that all the income you received from the government, from the DEA, that you did not have to report that on your tax returns? Absolutely. Up until I talked to Mr. Harvey. Okay, now, when you're talking with your attorney in the bankruptcy, did he ever ask you, ma'am, did you have any other income other than what you've given me copies of? No. Because the only thing he asked for is what is your monthly guaranteed, you know? What do I get monthly from my salary from my company? And no doubt, he probably asked for copies of your 1099s and your W-2 forms. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And to your knowledge, ma'am, this chapter 7 was granted. Is that correct, ma'am? Yes, that's correct. And all of the debts that you have listed, perhaps in excess, is close to 150,000 in total, were wiped away. Credit cards, yes. Credit cards, and that was the main thrust of the debt, was your credit cards, right? For the most part, yeah. All right. Now, you stated, ma'am, that your relationship with Mr. Cromer was essentially in 3 phases. One, a friend, then and a good friend, and then a romantic liaison. That is correct. Would you give me a time sequence, ma'am, of when we went from friend stage to special friend to romantic liaison? And if you check the video that I did on that, him and Tammy, a special kind of love, because he's a special agent, so they got a special kind of love. Check that out. That's when I go into the OIG investigation. Still. Boom. Give me a specific time, months, whatever. I really couldn't give you a specific time, but I can tell you that it was within months, meaning we started off as friends a few months later, and in a few months later, I know sexually we didn't become interacting with each other sexually for several months because he was married and we were both decided that we wanted to wait. Okay, so I'm trying to tie this down a little bit more, ma'am. You met him in the fall of 2011, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but in the fall of 2011 is when Mr. Harvey retired. If that's the time, you are correct. Okay, and Mr. Herman chimes in and says, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer, Yana. But I'm still having trouble hearing. Court, well, if you could keep your voice up. Can I hear the answer again, please? I think she said fall 2011 was the answer. Okay, yes, that was my answer. Now, when Mr. Harvey retired, you didn't automatically start working like the next day with Mr. Cromer, did you, ma'am? Mr. Cromer reached out to me, as a matter of fact, the same day or the next day. I think there was an email to confirm that. Okay. And then you talked about some kind of work that you would be doing for him. Is that correct? For when you say him, who are you referring to? I'm sorry, Mr. Cromer is who I'm referring to. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's correct. And a lot of it had to do with Hispanics. That was supposed to be for Hispanics. That is correct. And he asked you that some of your duties would be to deliver money to them, money or drugs, and or drugs. And did you ever perform those tasks? No. Do you know why you didn't ever perform those tasks if this was your job? Because you was over there. I don't see nothing wrong. Was you doing that, Tammy? With a little bump and grind, babe. We know about you, Tammy. Sad with you. Y'all drop a like, y'all. Drop a like. Unless y'all friends with Tammy. Anyway. Well, I would always ask, and they said the person didn't show up, or they got stopped, and that they were doing state patrols. That they were doing state patrols are going down the road. That's how they wrote this thing. So don't think I'm not reading. This is how they writing this thing. I guess state patrol is always involved in the DEA, and I didn't know that at the time, but it never manifested. It never came. Okay, thank you. So just to clarify, despite the fact that Mr. Cromer said that this is what I want you to do to work with Hispanics, the fact is that he never performed any of those tasks. They never got carried out. Okay, now, if we start, and I'm not trying to confuse you, and stop me if I am, because I will. Okay. We're going to start off with the end of 2011 that Mr. Harvey retires and Mr. Cromer then becomes your controlling agent. Would that be a fair statement to say at that starting point? Yes. Cool. Okay, so now in 2011, were you had already met and knew Demetrius Flannery? Is that a true statement, ma'am? Yes. In 2011, you still held Mr. Flannery's power of attorney. That is correct. And you also said that you held his lifeline, creative control and his life rights. Oh, okay. Okay. And could you tell me more what that means, ma'am? So basically, it means that because of the son of Sam law, he doesn't fall under that, meaning that there's no heinous crimes of Demetrius Flannery because there was no murder. It was just a corporate criminal enterprise. So therefore, he or whoever that he has assigned his rights to could benefit from a film being made. As opposed to, example, Frank Lucas, he couldn't benefit because there was heinous acts involved and there was murders involved. So he couldn't benefit off the movies because the people benefited off the movie. Oh, no, he couldn't receive any? I would, because I would be the one that had creative control, and that would be correct. Okay, exactly. Okay. So in 2011, you were not only dealing with the DEA, but you were also working in regards to this, if I characterize it as a movie deal. That is correct. Okay. And by that time of 2011, you had already made Mr. Gatlin's acquaintance, right? That is correct. So let me back up a little bit. You said I've already made a movie deal. That's incorrect. Well, then were you working on one? Negotiation with different powerhouses to try to make that come true. But, try to make it come to realization. But we didn't have anything in place at that time. But you are correct in regards to the first conversations with Mr. Gatlin. Now, Mr. Gatlin really wanted to become involved in making the movie. Is that fair to say, ma'am? That is a fair statement in the beginning, correct? Okay. Did Mr. Gatlin have any money? None to my knowledge. I mean, I don't know if he had money or not. Okay. But if you're going to help make a movie, it would be in the role of a producer then, right? Well, or seed money? No. So much of that. She said, no, not so much of that at all. I've been a producer on a few things, and I didn't put any money up. It just depends on what you're trying to come about. If you bring a meeting of the minds, if you are bringing a deal to the table, you can ask for a co-producer, or you can even ask for an executive producer title, as well as what they call a finder's fee for bringing that together. Okay? Okay, but it never rose to that level with Mr. Gatlin, did it? That is correct, because the gentleman he was working with, Louis Burrell, which is MC Hammer's brother, began making threats to me in regards to taking over the life rights and giving it to him, and calling me making threats in regard to Demetrius Flannery that I need to give him, basically trying to extort me for his rights. Damn, bro, that's how you was giving it up, Burrell? Hammer's a wild boy. Remember they told you a story about MC Hammer and his brother? Y'all drop a like, y'all. Come on, I'm taking a drink. Drop a like. Drop a like. I'm reading 289 pages here. Drop a like, y'all. Let's go. Yes, I want to see it move. I want to see the likes move. Yes. Likes up. Thank you. Appreciate you. King or queen, whoever you are. Appreciate you. All right. Let's get into this. You know, Meechy and Director Sos and for sure backup plan in a few minutes. Damn. Okay, cool. He was making threats, right? Okay, for his rights. Understood. Okay. So that was Mr. Burrell who was making those threats? Yes, not Dion. Cuffy Gatlin, not Cuffy. Not Mr. Gatlin, okay? So this was a pretty substantial project that you were working on, man, with regards to Mr. Flannery's story. Trying to put it together. Yes, okay. It's long? She said it's long. Okay. So you had a lot of things going on with that. You had a lot of pressure, I would assume, since you were holding his power of attorney and trying to ferret out the best deal that you possibly could. No, I wouldn't say pressure. No pressure, okay. Did it take a lot of your time? At times. At times, so it might be 1 week it was really busy and the next week you might have had a whole lot to do. That is correct. Okay, now, in that same time frame, what were you working on in the DEA in 2011, you mean? With Mr. Cromer. With Mr. Cromer? Yes, ma'am. With Mr. Cromer, the one you was giving Chrome Dome to, Falcon Eagle Beak, Land Before Time, the long neck to, allegedly. Your own words, though, Tammy, in court. Anyway. At the tail end of 2011, when he succeeded Mr. Harvey, okay, as far as this particular case, is that what you're asking? Yes, ma'am. Or just generalize it if you were making phone calls. Okay, yes. So I was making calls in regards to, and I met with a few people, other informants, to put deals together. One black guy, I don't recall the guy's name, and I met with another informant, and we were to blank. He basically thought I was a drug lady, and the other informant, introduced me to him, and we were supposed to put some stuff together then, as well as the blank. Okay, if I could interrupt you for just a moment, but those blanks, but that individual wasn't CS2? No, I don't know who she is. With all this stuff, she probably doesn't have anything to do with this if it's another informant. Okay, so we're going to fast forward, ma'am, into the early spring of 2012. Okay. And if we use the date of March, ma'am, okay, for a line to begin with. Okay. Were you and Mr. Cromer still in the friend stage, or did it revert, or had it went on to the special friend stage? I can't really say based on that date, but I know during the time with Dion Cuffy Gatlin's, it was a special friend stage, romantic stage. Okay, are you a sports fan, ma'am? No, I'm not. Well, I was going to use the Final Four to see if we could figure it out. Okay, I don't like sports, unfortunately. Okay, I would say Easter of 2012, do you recall whether you were still in a special friend stage with Mr. Cromer? I can't say. Okay. What time frame do you recollect, ma'am, that it went from a special friend to a romantic friendship? Well, when I say a special friend, I mean as far as touching and kissing and cuddling. So that's what I mean by the terminology special friend. So just understand that in regards to romantic, I mean sexual. Okay, yes, ma'am. I just want to clarify for the record. Again, we waited for maybe 3, 4, 5 months before we had sexual intercourse to lead up to a blown quote unquote romantic, or full blown quote. They just marked it. They wrote it wrong. to lead up to a full-blown, quote, unquote, romantic relationship. Okay, so when you were his special friend, he would come over to your house, yes, and smash. Yes. Were there times, ma'am, when you would bring his DEA materials over to your house? Yes. Because you know what I'm going to ask you. Yes, it's okay. And were there times when he would leave his DEA equipment over at your house? Is that fair to say? Yes. And it would be also a fair statement, ma'am, that he would talk to you about other agents? Yes, ma'am. Whether good or bad? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And in this special status, special friend frame, did you travel out of town with him, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. And would he ever introduce you as his girlfriend? I think he introduced me, yes. He did to several people, yes, as his girlfriend. But the man goes in court. I read his OIG investigation where they investigated him for this, just for the relationship and just for the money. They investigated him. I read that like yesterday. He ain't never had sex with her. He's a damn lie, bro. All of that and you ain't never had sex? Stop, bro. Stop. Don't lie, bro. Don't lie. You already lost your job. Y'all drop a like. Let's get us to 30 real quick. Come on. Let's get us to 30. We be working on 40 and 50 next. I want this to be on 100 likes when I'm done at least. At least. That's going to help this video get to the people that just want to get the paperwork. That's it. And if anyone would have seen you, do you think that they would have assumed, ma'am, that you were an item? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, now at some point in time, though, the relationship, it hit the rocks, didn't it? Yes, ma'am. And it hit the rocks because Mr. Cromer became a little bit controlling. Yes, ma'am. And we were so we're sweetness and light to a point. Correct? Okay. Okay, and then we hit a point where he's telling you what to do and where to live. How to dress, too. How to dress. Now it seems to me, ma'am, that you are a very professional person and you have accomplished a lot here, notwithstanding this case, but you've accomplished a lot. And I would take it that, I didn't feel so good to have someone make a second class, have you labeled as a second class person. I don't think anyone can make me feel second class. I think that in its self-esteem. And I don't have that self-esteem, unfortunately. So she says, I don't think anyone could make me feel second class. I think that's in self-esteem. And I don't have that self-esteem, unfortunately. Did you ever become physically afraid of Mr. Cromer? Yes, I did. And did you ever talk to anyone in the DEA about being afraid of Mr. Cromer? I think I mentioned it to Jack Harvey. Okay, so when you were talking to Jack Harvey was the person who thought you could. So Jack Harvey was the person who you thought you could talk to, who you felt confident in talking to. I trust Mr. Harvey, yes. Did Mr. Harvey suggest that you move? Did Mr. Harvey? No. No? But you felt that at some point in time that maybe you wanted to change of residence. Which residence are you speaking about? Just FYI, I've moved quite a bit since I've been involved in this case, so you have to be a bit more specific. I'll try to be a bit more specific. Okay. When your relationship started to hit the rocks with Cromer, and if we have a timeline that we're kind of talking about here, we're probably talking about late spring or early summer of 2012. I don't recall the date, but our issue started when I was already in an apartment after I moved out of the house. Okay, I don't know that much. I really, really don't. Okay, so it was at that point in time, ma'am, when Mr. Cromer became very controlling, that perhaps you thought you might want to move? No. To get away from him? No. I moved because I told on Keith, and they paid for me to move. That's the third time. Okay, well, let's talk about that for just a moment. You went to Jack Harvey and you said that you were having problems with Mr. Cromer? No. I went to Jack Harvey and told him that I thought that there was something going on that wasn't right. I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. When I originally talked to Jack Harvey, I opened up about everything and to him, and I said that I felt that there was something that wasn't going on right within the government, but not just fear of Keith. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. I'm glad you did. Okay. After that, you moved, man. After that, I moved because Jack had to contact me. I guess Keith, boss or whoever, and then they told me to move from the apartment that I was in, but not because of Keith Cromer. Okay. Do you recall when you filed that formal complaint against Mr. Keith Cromer? Ma'am, what do you mean file a formal complaint? I'm sorry. Yo, it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. I want everybody dropping likes, everybody subscribing to this channel. Put the notification bells on because you're notified when we drop a new content. Okay, I need y'all notified when we drop a new content. I'm trying to knock these things out by the clips, 50 clips and all type of stuff. I read 32 pages, 40 pages. This one, I don't know how much I read, probably like 50. Facts. But I need y'all dropping likes. I need y'all subscribing to the channel. Share these videos. It's going to be a part 1, part 2, part 3. Share the videos. Share this video. Subscribe to my Comedy on Go. It's linked to my channels right in my description box. Salute to everybody. Salute to everybody that's hit me with a Cash App. You can hit that Cash App. Yes, you can. I got Super Chats, too. You can do that, too, when you see me live. You don't see me ever ask. But guess what? Closed mouths don't. Yeah. Facts. Okay? Especially when I'm doing my little readings. I ain't playing around. This is the technical shit. I dropped out of school, son. I taught myself everything I know because I was tired of doing the bullshit. Straight. Straight. So make sure everybody's dropping a like. Make sure everybody's subscribing. I'm going to clip this in just like an hour format. And then I'm going to come entitle another video and do it now. Because I'm just putting them in hour format. So when people rewatch them, they just see the hour clips. And they'll be able to just see the videos. Bang. Because once people see a thing that says 3 hours on it, you don't want to click it. You don't, bro. You know the truth, bro. You see something that say 3 hours, you be like, I don't got that time. So an hour is a lot. So I just leave it at an hour clip. So salute to everybody. I love y'all. Make sure y'all subscribing to the channel. Turn the notification bells on. And subscribe to the channel that's linked to my channel, Comedy on Go. Subscribe there. Get me to 50 subscribers. That's all I need. I think I need 20 more. 20 more of you. Subscribe there. I'm able to go live there. That's all I need, y'all. That's all I need. Okay. And shout out to all of y'all. Like I said, y'all can hit that Cash App. Shout out to everybody that hit the Cash App, though. I appreciate y'all. And everybody who's ever hit the Super Chat, because I don't really ask for anything. So salute to y'all. I love y'all. I will be back with another one. Salute to all the new people in the chat. Remember, be a part of the Go Gang. Make sure you subscribing to the channel, being a part of the Go Gang, man. Don't miss out on certain things, man. We got dope interviews, dope conversation, dope things coming, okay? This is what we doing, man. Feel me? Facts of life, brother. Facts of life. I'm from Brooklyn, brother. I'm from Brooklyn. Salute to y'all. Most definitely salute to y'all. I will be back in a moment with another one. Ooda, ooda, ooda. Oh, you from Queens? Oh, turn on like Queens. Facts, facts. Salute to y'all. Remember, hit the notification bell because I'm about to do another clip. I'm about to do another video. I just want to make sure because YouTube been sometime with the notifications. That's why I tell y'all to drop likes because y'all control the algorithm more than you think it is. Bless your eyes. Bless your eyes. I'm going to cap this video and come back with another one right now. So you already know the vibe. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bells. And my subscription should be jumping about 50